Hello everyone, welcome to another real estate discussion time with the Lady Realtor. My name remains Akinnuoye Temitope, also known as the Lady Realtor. Today we will be talking about short stay apartments, or you might know it as Airbnb or shortlet. Whichever name you know it to be, I am here to explain to you what this particular popular business in the real estate sector is all about. Now, a lot of people are going into this business without having the in-depth knowledge about this particular aspect of real estate. Yes, of course, because there's so many information about buy this house, make this amount of money, figures that are not backed with facts. Now, you don't want to do real estate without knowing what you're doing exactly, because real estate is volume driven. Yes, it is actually a particular sector that deal with a huge volume of money, and you don't want to put your hard-earned money into the wrong investments. So now, short stay apartment is actually popular currently in Lagos, Nigeria, and a lot of people are going into the business without having an in-depth knowledge about it. Now, today I am here to explain to you all that you need to know about short stay apartments, the how to get into the business, the necessary details that you need to have as an investor so that you don't run at loss. Short stay, as the name implies, it means an apartment you can get for short duration, either for 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours. Some people get it for a week, some for 2 weeks, depending on what you need the apartment for. Now, there are a lot of uses of shortless apartments currently, and I guess that is the reason why a lot of people feel that they have to go into the business. Now, short stay is used for entertainers use it basically as a studio. They use it for to shoot movies. Some rent it for birthdays, to have an indoor party. You are out of the you're in the country and you don't want to use an hotel. You want to have you probably want to have an alone time and you want a home feel. People use shortlet apartments for so many things right now. And of course, people have weddings and they have to stay in an Airbnb. Definitely, for many events, there are so many conferences and all of that. You are in town, you are there for conference. You need an apartment to stay that feel like a home. So it's in high demand, and because of that, a lot of people are going into this aspect of real estate. Now, let me make you understand that short stay apartment is actually profitable. Yes, please note that it is well profitable, but you might run at loss or do it the wrong way, and at the end of the day, you might not get value for your money if you don't know how to run the business. Now, a lot of people come with figures, not facts. They come with figures on the internet. They will tell you buy this apartment for 40 million naira and rent it on a short stay, 50,000 per night. They do some maths and tell you this and all that. They're not telling you most of the details that are involved in this particular business. It's a line of business that you have to know what is obtainable before you can actually do it. So the first thing I'll be talking about is location. How prime is that location? What's the demand rate of that particular location? And also, what is the saturation? Now, a lot of some locations, not a lot, some locations are actually congested. Like these locations are known for Airbnb, and because of that, there's so many investors that are running to that particular location to have a stake. Now, please note that when you are situating an apartment in a highly competitive environment, your apartment might actually be at disadvantage. So location first, it has to be prime. Yes, the location has to be prime. It has to be where people want to go. It has to be where it is safe that people can live in. It has to be that a place where it is accessible, easily accessible, more like at the center of all. Now, as much as you want all of those things, you also want to avoid oversaturation. You don't want to be in an environment where there are so many Airbnbs. Now, let me use a particular location in Lagos as an example. Ikate is known for Airbnb. Ikate is known for so many short stay apartments. Now, that particular location is actually saturated. Now, within Ikate itself, there's some locations, streets, estates that are saturated, they're oversaturated, overpopulated, and you don't want to be in that kind of location. You don't want to be in that kind of highly competitive location. You want to look for another location that is less congested and is still accessible, is well secure, and people love to go there. So now, talking about location as well, you also want to ensure that your location is actually sellable. Now, once I mentioned Lekki Phase 1, Ikate, Osapa London, Agunki, Orchid Road, a lot of people want to go to this location. Those locations are actually sellable. They are locations that people want to go to. They are accessible. Now, also note that when it comes to location as well, your audience also matters. If I have something to do in Aja, I have no reason to be in Ekate. If I have something to do in Ekpe, I have no business being Ekate. So you have to understand the kind your target audience. You have to understand where you are, what location will suit your target audience as well. Now, the next thing we'll be talking about is the cost of setting up your apartment. Now, unlike what is obtainable on the internet, the cost of setting up an Airbnb apartment is actually not cheap, and you have to put this into consideration when you want to start the business. Now, the cost of furnishing. Now, please note that these days people buy the look. Your apartment has to be eye-catching. It has to be pleasing. You have to put in materials that people will actually fall in love with. Imagine that you're looking out for an apartment that you want to rent for a short stay, and you set out on the internet to look out for an option. It is the one that is more pleasing to your eyes that you will go for, regardless of the price. Now, please note that, of course, your budget might come to play, but there will be that eye-catching apartment that you want to go for at all costs. So please note that the cost of setting up your apartment is highly essential. And what are those things that you need in your apartment? First, the home decoration, lights, good lighting. That is very, very important. Free Wi-Fi, security, 24 hours power supply. Now, this is what some people don't know. 24 hours power supply. It is highly essential when you're running an Airbnb. The next thing we're talking about is the security. Now, the security of your apartment, where this particular apartment is located, what is the security architecture of that environment? Of course, we all know the challenge we have here in Nigeria, and a lot of people are going the extra mile to put in some structures to protect themselves. So you, as a business person who is going into short-let apartments, you want your apartment to be in an environment that is well secure, that is well protected as well. Now, the last thing we're going to be talking about is the price. You have to ensure that your price is highly competitive. Look at the going rate within the location where your apartment is situated, and ensure that your price is a little bit lower than the going rate. That way, you will be drawing more attention to your own apartment than the others. Now, in all of this, we've talked about the things you should look out for and things you should put together before you start an Airbnb business. Now, these are the ideas that I give to my clients when they want to go into this business. Now, let me tell you that when it comes to location, this is what we do. We put together the top locations within the state. We list out where we want to serve our target audience, and from there we will be able to decide which location will serve our interest. Now, you want to ask me that how do you go into an Airbnb business with all that I have said so far? Now, please let me let you know that this is what I will tell anyone that wants to go into the business to do. First, look at the location that you want your apartments to be in. What location? How competitive? Like, how is that location saturated already, or is it still new? Is it where people want to go, or what is the price and all of that? You put all of that into consideration. Then the next thing is, let's give a practical example. If you want to site a short stay apartment, I will always recommend that you site it in a well guided environment. Now, more like an estate. Now, why do I say that? First, the cost of self-servicing is way expensive. But when you are in an organized environment, the cost of servicing that apartment will be shared across every other person. Now, if you have an apartment within an estate, the cost of light, the cost of internet services will actually be shared within every other person within the estate. Now, the cost of security, the cost of keeping the environment clean, and all of that will be shared within everyone within the estate. Now, this is saving you cost as a business person. If you decide to do it as a self-service outside, the cost of light, the cost of internet service, the cost of security, the cost of cleaning, and all of that will be solely on you, which makes it much more expensive. Now, this is where people are getting it all wrong. People go out there and tell you figures, buy this and get this and rent this out in this month, 50,000 times this. They are not telling you all of this. They're not telling you that you have to pay for internet service. They're not telling you that you have to pay for security. They're not telling you that you have to pay for light. It is 24 hours per power supply. Now, some estates do at least a minimum of 12, 18, 20 hours of power supply. Let's say you are in an environment where you have 18 hours power supply, 12 hours power supply, 20 hours, depending on where you belong. You have to balance up the number of hours to make it a 24 hours power supply, because if you are in an Airbnb, it's supposed to be a 24 hours power supply. Now, how do you achieve that? All of these factors are supposed to be in place. Now, is it that you're buying a generator to complement it? How do you fuel that generator, or how do you buy your diesel? Or are you using a solar system? If you're using a solar system, what kVA can actually power the equipment in the house and all of that? These things are not cheap. All of these factors need to be in place. That is why I said you should be in an organized environment, a community that is where other people can actually share the burdens of all of these things. Your security, your internet services, the cleaning, your power, all of these things have to be within a range that will actually favor you in the business. And also, when you have your apartment in a community, it gives a sense of belonging to the person that is actually renting your apartment. Now, imagine that I want an home kind of feel. I'm coming from another location, another part of the world, and I am in Nigeria. I want an home feel environment, and an Airbnb that I got is within an isolated environment. I won't be having that home feel. There's so many factors to actually put in place. Now, these factors are actually very, very important. So, having said all this, you want to reach out to someone who have all the knowledge about this particular line of real estate. You want to reach out to me and let me help you get affordable apartments in good locations here in Lagos, Nigeria, to set up an Airbnb apartment. And trust me that I will give you the best of real estate and also guide you on how to go. My name remains Akinnuoye Temitope, also known as the Lady Realtor. You can reach me on 070-3592-0521 or 080-8366-8789. Kindly subscribe to this channel, because of course we bring you the best of real estate deals every time, and also educate you on how to go about real estate investments in Lagos. Trust me, you need to be here. Join our family today.